Already at IFA 2025 in Berlin, this projector attracted noticeable attention. With the Titan, XGIMI opens a new chapter and, for the first time, leaves the classic lifestyle segment behind. Instead of compact design-oriented projectors, the manufacturer now presents a model clearly targeting the traditional projector market, designed for home cinema, living rooms, and even professional applications. However, it's not only this strategic shift that makes the Titan exciting. Above all, it's its technical specifications and a price that appears strikingly attractive in relation to the performance offered. After a slight delay, the XGIMI Titan is now finally available, and that makes it time to take a closer look at this model. That's exactly what we're doing in this video. So hello and welcome to our video channel. Make yourselves comfortable, fasten your seatbelts, and let's get started. As usual, we'll begin with the chassis, dimensions, and build quality, before moving on to the connections, controls, technical details, and, of course, actual image performance. The XGIMI Titan already differs clearly in appearance from the manufacturer's previous lifestyle models. With dimensions of 441 by 345 by 158 millimeters and a weight of around 11.5 kilograms, it clearly belongs to the category of classic home cinema and installation projectors. The significantly larger chassis not only provides space for more powerful components and an integrated power supply, but also conveys an overall very robust and high-quality impression. In terms of design, XGIMI opts for a sober, functional visual language with clean lines and a consistently black housing. This gives the projector a discreet appearance that integrates well both into living spaces and dedicated home cinemas without appearing overly dominant. A special feature is the surface. As clearly seen on the Horizon 20 Max, XGIMI also uses a high-quality leather-like synthetic texture on the Titan. This not only feels pleasant to the touch, but also gives the projector an elegant, almost furniture-like appearance. The lightly textured surface reduces fingerprints and underlines the professional yet living room-friendly character. The front of the XGIMI Titan is completely covered by a high-quality fabric grille. This not only gives the device a refined appearance, but also serves as an acoustically transparent cover for the speakers integrated in the front area. Despite this integrated audio solution, however, it remains clear that for serious home cinema applications, an external audio system is practically mandatory, as the Titan's image quality clearly exceeds what integrated speakers can deliver. Also noticeable is the asymmetrical placement of the optical unit, which, when viewed from the front, is located on the right side rather than centrally. Several sensors are also integrated into the front. On the left and right are dual TOF and dual camera modules, resulting in a quad-lens sensor system. These handle tasks such as image correction, distance measurement, and eye protection detection. If the system detects people or pets in the projection area, light output is automatically reduced to avoid direct laser exposure. The sensors are cleanly integrated and remain visually unobtrusive. Overall build quality leaves a very solid impression. Transitions are neatly finished, the housing is torsion resistant, and the projector clearly appears designed for long-term use. In the combination of size, material choice, and surface quality, the Titan demonstrates that XGIMI is seriously aiming to establish itself in the professional segment. The XGIMI Titan can be installed flexibly and supports both classic placement on a table or shelf and fixed ceiling or wall mounting. Small feet are included in the package for stable placement on flat surfaces. In addition, the projector features standard mounting points, allowing the use of common ceiling and wall brackets without any issues. The lens is not centrally positioned, which is often typical for projectors of this class. In practice, however, this is not a disadvantage, as the Titan offers a generous lens shift range. This allows precise adjustment of the image position without relying on additional keystone correction or image distortion. We'll go into the exact adjustment ranges and their practical implementation in more detail later. For now, let's first turn to the connections and operation. In this area, the XGIMI Titan is clearly designed for flexible integration into a wide variety of setups. It offers a total of 2 HDMI 2.1 inputs, one of which supports eARC and thus enables lossless audio pass-through to external sound systems. The connection panel is complemented by one USB 2.0 and one USB 3.0 port, allowing both simple media playback and the connection of external storage devices or accessories without difficulty. For audio connectivity, in addition to eARC, there's a 3.5mm jack output and an optical digital output. On the network side, the Titan's equipped with an RJ45 Ethernet port for stable wired network integration, complemented by Wi-Fi 6 dual band and Bluetooth 5.2, enabling wireless networking and the wireless connection of peripherals and audio devices. In addition, there's a remote input for external control systems, an RS-232 port for professional installation environments, and a separate service port. Overall, the XGIMI Titan clearly presents itself as a projector designed not only for living room use, but also for demanding installation scenarios. In terms of operation, the XGIMI Titan also proves to be exceptionally versatile. The projector could be controlled not only via remote control, but also via network control in RS-232, clearly qualifying it for professional installation environments. In addition, the Titan features physical control buttons integrated directly into the housing, located below the connection panel. These allow basic operation even without the remote control, a detail that proves particularly practical during installation or maintenance work. The supplied remote control follows the familiar XGIMI design language, but focuses more strongly on functionality geared toward professional use. It operates via Bluetooth and offers helpful backlighting, which significantly increases operating comfort, especially in dark environments. Notably, there's a deliberate omission of shortcut buttons for streaming services, which are otherwise common with XGIMI. This is mainly because XGIMI completely dispenses with the integration of a smart TV operating system such as Google TV in the Titan, instead consistently relying on external sources. For a projector of this class, and particularly in the context of a fixed installation, this is by no means a bad decision. In most setups, AV receivers, Blu-ray players, and separate streaming devices such as Apple TV or Fire TV are used anyway, so an integrated smart system is hardly missed here. Instead, the menu of the XGIMI Titan is fully focused on projector-relevant functions, image modes, signal processing, and extensive collaboration and adjustment options. Everything needed to configure the projector professionally and precisely adapt it to the respective environment is available. The menus are therefore consistently designed around the core functions of the projector. Installation settings such as zoom and lens shift, as well as advanced image adjustments. Color-related options can be found under brightness and display, which is divided into two submenus. Under basic parameters, the typical fundamental controls are available: brightness, contrast, saturation, sharpness, color temperature, and motion compensation, referred to here as motion smoothing. Things become significantly more interesting in the professional settings menu. Here you'll find all the tools expected for precise calibration: color space selection, gamma adjustment, 2-point and 11-point grayscale adjustment, dynamic contrast, and laser power control in 10 steps. For SDR image modes, the options include standard, film, TV, vivid, sport, filmmaker mode, and high power. These modes are also available for HDR content, supplemented by IMAX Enhanced and HDR10+, as well as Dolby Vision in dark and bright variants. As part of our Ultimate Edition, all customers naturally receive the individually determined optimal settings free of charge. This eliminates the time-consuming search through menus and submenus, allowing you to focus directly on what really matters: relaxed enjoyment of films, series, and sports. Contrast management is particularly extensive. Among other features, it includes local contrast, dynamic contrast, AI contrast, and dynamic black enhancement. In addition, there's an interesting control designed to compensate for color shifts that can arise from dynamic contrast enhancement. At first glance, this is a very comprehensive package, and it's easy to get lost in the options initially. Ultimately, however, what matters is what these functions actually achieve in practice. We'll examine this in detail later. First, however, we'll take a look at the technical foundations and positioning flexibility, particularly thanks to optical zoom and lens shift. The XGIMI Titan uses a special light source architecture that differs significantly from classic RGB triple laser projectors. It employs a dual laser system in combination with phosphor and color wheel technology, for example, a so-called laser phosphor system. Unlike so-called pure triple laser projectors, where each primary color is generated directly by its own laser, the XGIMI Titan follows a technically different approach. This has practical effects on image behavior. By generating broadband white light and subsequently separating colors, the typical laser speckle phenomenon is significantly reduced, in some cases almost completely avoided. The XGIMI Titan thus combines the advantages of a laser-based light source, long service life, constant brightness, and fast response, with the low speckle characteristics of classic phosphor systems. As the image modulator, the Titan uses a 0.78-inch DMD chip, whose reflective surface is around 2.8 times larger than that of the widely used 0.47-inch DMDs that XGIMI uses, for example, in the Horizon 20 series. The larger mirror surface allows more light to be used efficiently, increases native contrast, and ensures a calmer, more differentiated image, especially on large screen sizes. 4K resolution is realized via proven XPR pixel shifting. In this process, the DMD is driven with minimal offsets at high frequency, so that the full UHD pixel count is effectively displayed on the screen. For the viewer, this results in a very sharp, high-resolution image that is visibly superior to the smaller 0.47-inch platforms. XGIMI summarizes the entire optical unit under the designation Ultra Bright Pro Light Engine. Behind this is a structure optimized specifically for high light transmission, consisting of the laser unit, phosphor wheel, color wheel, mirrors, and lens. The XGIMI specialty lens is designed to deliver the high light output of the dual laser source to the screen with minimal loss while effectively limiting distortion and chromatic aberrations. The result is a very bright, homogeneously illuminated image with clean sharpness right into the corners. This interaction of light source, DMD, and optics is controlled by the XGIMI X1 AI image chipset. This image processor analyzes the incoming signal in real time and dynamically optimizes sharpness, contrast progression, detail in dark and bright image areas, and color reproduction. In combination with the dual laser light source, the large 0.78-inch DMD, and the Pro Light engine, the X1 forms the technical basis for clearly classifying the Titan in the professional home cinema and installation segment. A decisive difference compared to many classic lifestyle projectors is the Titan's optical system. Instead of purely digital corrections, it offers a motorized optical zoom from 1.2x to 1.8x, as well as a generous, also motorized lens shift range of plus or minus 100% vertically and plus or minus 40% horizontally. Specifically, this means vertically the image can be shifted by approximately one full image height up or down. Horizontally, it can be shifted far to the left or right without having to move or tilt the projector itself. This allows the Titan to be mounted well outside the classic central axis, whether due to furniture, room architecture, or cable routing. Especially for ceiling mounting, this is a considerable advantage, as the mount does not have to be positioned exactly in the middle of the screen. However, it also applies here. The more horizontal lens shift is used, the smaller the remaining vertical adjustment range becomes, and vice versa. In practice, this means if the projector is mounted far off to the side, the possible vertical shift is reduced, and with maximum vertical shift, the horizontal range is reduced accordingly. Even under these conditions, however, the Titan remains significantly more flexible than most DLP projectors, in which lens shift is either not available at all or only very limited. The combination of dual laser light source, large 0.78-inch DMD chip, and the XGIMI X1 AI image processor forms the basis for modern HDR formats not only being recognized, but also correctly implemented. Dynamic formats such as Dolby Vision and HDR10+ particularly benefit from the high brightness reserve and the projector's ability to adapt scene information in real time. This results in a contrast-rich, dynamic image with cleanly defined highlights and differentiated dark areas. IMAX Enhanced is also fully supported, as is HLG for broadcast HDR and live TV and streaming. In our measurements, the high power mode reached nearly 8,000 ANSI lumens. However, this setting comes with clearly visible color shifts and is therefore not suitable for color-accurate image reproduction. Consequently, this mode is intended more for demonstration purposes or extremely bright environments than for regular practical use. Practically relevant are the more color-neutral modes, especially Filmmaker mode. Here we achieve up to 5,550 ANSI lumens at the highest level, around 4,300 ANSI lumens at level 5, and even at the lowest level, still 2,672 ANSI lumens. This clearly places the Titan among the brightest home cinema projectors in its class. In terms of color space, the Titan also shows very good results for a dual laser phosphor system. In the DCI P3 color space, we measure 94.46%, a strong value that supports film-accurate reproduction of modern HDR content. The extended BT 2020 color space, considered the long-term HDR reference color space, is covered to just under 80%. This is naturally below the level of pure RGB laser projectors, but in the upper range of what can be expected from powerful dual laser systems. Another point that stood out unexpectedly positively in our test concerns native contrast. In a color-neutral image mode and at the same time high brightness, the Titan achieves a native contrast of over 4,200 to 1, an exceptionally good value for a very bright DLP projector, which in practice clearly surpasses many other projectors. Particularly interesting is the so-called dynamic enhancement, one of the most effective methods for further increasing contrast. This function operates in 3 stages and stands out from many other solutions in that it doesn't generate disturbing video noise. Its influence on contrast is clearly visible. Originally, this was accompanied by a slight change in color reproduction, a point that's now been fully corrected with the latest software update. Also noticeable is the very aggressive behavior of the light control. When displaying a completely black image, the laser is completely shut off. If contrast is measured with longer exposure times, theoretical values of up to nearly 5 million to 1 can be determined. This is technically impressive, but in practice should be understood more as a demonstration of capability than as a real usage advantage. A central element of image processing is the X1 AI image chip. Unlike many projectors, the Titan relies on its own specially tuned image engine rather than generic signal processors. The chip analyzes each image in real time and dynamically adjusts brightness, colors, contrast, and gamma to the respective content, particularly relevant for demanding HDR scenes. This is complemented by the Tri-X HDR system, in which the image is divided into hundreds of thousands of zones and optimized separately. This allows bright and dark image areas to be controlled very precisely, without losing detail or making the image appear unnatural. All of this is supported by additional AI functions. Another special feature is the 3-core FPGA cooperative solution, which works in parallel with the actual image chip. This FPGA unit handles dynamic contrast control and specifically improves black levels without impairing color stability. This is precisely where many projectors show weaknesses. When contrast is heavily increased via software, colors often become unbalanced or appear distorted. With the Titan, color neutrality is maintained. The FPGA engine thus plays a decisive role in ensuring that the image remains simultaneously bright, contrast-rich, and color-accurate, a combination that is rarely realized in this form. In practical image reproduction, the XGIMI Titan clearly demonstrates how well the interaction of Tri-X HDR, X1 AI image chip, and FPGA-supported contrast control works. Especially with HDR content, the projector unfolds impressive dynamics. Bright highlights are clearly emphasized without overexposing dark image areas or losing detail. Transitions between very bright and very dark scenes appear stable, without visible pumping effects or brightness jumps. The high native contrast ensures that black areas remain calm and deep, while bright accents are structured cleanly and displayed with high detail depth. The zone-based image analysis allows small light reflections and fine highlights to be worked out precisely, without large color areas appearing restless or blotchy. Sharpness performance is also particularly positive in practical operation. Contours and fine structures are displayed with exceptional clarity, without appearing artificially over-sharpened. Textures such as fabrics, wood surfaces, or skin details appear cleanly differentiated and three-dimensional. The AI-supported detail processing works visibly but pleasantly restrained, contributing more to image calmness than to an artificial look. In color-critical scenes, the Titan remains very stable. Color transitions appear homogeneous, skin tones natural and balanced, without drifting into reddish or greenish tints. Even with highly saturated colors, the reproduction remains controlled and free of overemphasis. This is precisely where the strength of the internal image processing becomes evident, which does not consider colors in isolation, but always controls them in relation to brightness and contrast. In SDR operation, the Titan particularly benefits from its high base brightness and stable light distribution. The image remains clear and contrast-rich even in daylight, without appearing exaggerated. Grayscale gradients appear smooth and clean, and color reproduction is already very precise without major intervention. SDR material thus appears calm, neutral, and excellently structured, without imposing the typical HDR look. The projector also impresses with motion-intensive content. Fast camera pans and movements are displayed clearly and coherently, without disturbing artifacts or blur. Motion interpolation works in a balanced manner and ensures a good compromise between smooth movement and natural image appearance. Overall, the XGIMI Titan presents itself in practice as an extremely well-balanced projector. Very bright, contrast-rich, sharp, and color-stable. with an image effect that convinces both in a dedicated home cinema and in a brighter living room environment. The XGIMI Titan also supports 3D, and particularly benefits here from the projector's very high light output. With over 5,000 ANSI lumens, 3D content remains visibly brighter and more contrast-rich than with many other projectors. Shadow areas do not appear washed out. Fine details and textures remain clearly visible. The 3D display works very stably overall. Double contours are hardly noticeable. Movements remain smooth and free of disturbing artifacts. In sum, the Titan clearly ranks among the better 3D projectors on the market. The XGIMI Titan is also well equipped for gaming. It offers a dedicated gaming interface with several profiles such as Standard, FPS, RPG, RTS, and Sports, specifically designed for low latency and smooth display. The decisive factor here is input lag. Without gaming options activated, this is around 130 milliseconds and clearly unsuitable for gaming. However, when low latency mode is activated, the delay drops significantly to around 30 milliseconds at 4K with 60 Hz. This corresponds to approximately 2 frames of delay and is therefore perfectly suitable for console and casual gamers. In addition, the Titan supports ALLM, for example, auto low latency mode. The projector automatically detects compatible gaming sources and switches independently to low latency mode without requiring manual intervention. Furthermore, the Titan accepts full HD signals with up to 240 Hz, achieving an extremely low input lag of around 15 milliseconds. For casual gamers, the XGIMI Titan is therefore very well suited. For higher demands, however, it naturally lags behind specialized gaming monitors, and also behind XGIMI's own Horizon 20 series, which is much more strongly focused on maximum gaming performance. All in all, the XGIMI Titan presents itself as a projector that convinces in nearly all relevant disciplines. With excellent sharpness, enormous brightness reserves, strong HDR dynamics, above-average contrast, very good color performance, and an exceptionally flexible optical system. Especially in the combination of high light output, precise image reproduction, and modern HDR and Dolby Vision support, the Titan makes a clear statement in its price class under 4,000 euros. At present, there is hardly another projector on the market that combines these characteristics in a comparable form. Thus, the XGIMI Titan marks a clear step by XGIMI toward the professional home cinema and installation segment. For ambitious home cinema enthusiasts, as well as for demanding living room or fixed installations, it undoubtedly belongs among the most exciting projectors in its class. Technically convincing, practical, and overall very well balanced. And with that, we once again reach the end. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any future interesting videos. See you in the next video.